Yo, what up, fam? It's your boy G Money back at it again with another video on the G35. So, like I always say, you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe right down below this video and put that thumbs up if you liked it. And if you didn't like it, then put that thumbs down. But, if you subscribe, then you get to click on that notification bell. That way you can get a notification to want to upload a video on the channel. So, subscribe to the channel. So, anyways, another thing happened with the G, but that's for another story. But on this video, I'm gonna do a more in-depth look on my fog lights that I got installed on the G35. On my last video, I kind of showed you what it looked like from the outside, but on this video, I'm gonna show you how I installed it, the whole setup that I have, the product that I got, and if it's worth it. So yeah, been talking too much, so let's get this video started. Alright, so right here, these are the fog lights that I got for the G35, the IP65. They are halos with the LED in the middle. I'll leave a link in the description, that way you can check them out. So I got these off of eBay for 18 bucks. So it basically comes with your two halos, or your two fog lights, and your two housing brackets, and some screws, and that's pretty much it. So for my setup, I have the halos. They're tied in with the parking lot lights. So for that, you need to get some connectors if you want to do that, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so you can see these are the connectors that I got. They just clamp on, and you put the wire through. And I have that tied in with the parking lot lights, so that way when my halos come on, they'll be the same with the parking lot lights. So you'll need some of those connectors if you want to do that setup. The other thing you'll need is the switch. So you can see this switch right here, I have it already all wired up. I'll leave a link into the description for that setup, but it's basically all you got to do is just read the diagram, and everything's already wired up. All you got to do is just terminate. So I'll show you that setup. So you'll need your switch, and I have that where I can manually turn them on and off. It's not with the lights, so I got that set up. So you'll need your switch, you'll need some zip ties, that way you can make your all your wiring and everything look nice and clean. You'll need like a Phillips screwdriver, that way when you remove your grill and your bumper, you can use that to take off the screws. And you could probably use like some pliers or some dikes to when you take off your other screws, you'll need to use your dikes to pull them off. That's for the grill. And pretty much maybe some electrical tape, that way you could tape it around the wires that are exposed. And so for mine, I had to use some shrink tape because the connections that I had, they weren't really clamping down. So we just ended up using some shrink tape. That way we can put them together. But yeah, let me show you the whole setup. That way you can see what it looks like. But that's what you're gonna need. Alright, so here's your battery, and here's the whole setup. So let me show you. So you have a red, a white, and a black that are coming from inside the firewall. So those three wires right there, they go in the firewall, and they go tied into the harness, right? So from that harness, that's where your switch is coming from. But I'll show you that in a little bit. But so you have your three wires right there. Your black wire, as you can see, it's gonna go to your ground. So I have it grounded right there. Your red wire is gonna come and tie into your positive on the terminal, and your white wire comes from the harness and ties into your relay, which is already all pre-wired. So your white from your relay ties into your fuse, and from your fuse the white ties also onto the positive of the terminal. So that completes that step. As far as from the relay, everything's already pre-wired. So the black from your relay is going to also be grounded, and that ties in to the frame of the the vehicle. And then the two blacks and the two whites from the I guess that go to the fog lights, your two blacks will go right here where they're grounded, and the two whites, which are already pre-wired, they go into your relay. So once that's all done, you just tuck it up, or you tuck it and hide it, use some zip ties to hide everything, and that's pretty much the whole wiring diagram for your setup. So this wire goes all the way down to the fog light for the passenger side, and then you have another wire. Let me see. So right there's one of the fog lights, you can see. But right here, this one's a little bit longer, and that one goes all the way to your other fog light. So once you like unravel everything, you'll know which goes to what fog light. So yeah, that's the whole diagram for that. So like I said, you will need your Phillips and some pliers to pop these open. That's to take off the grill. Let's see. And then for here, you'll need to take off your Phillips. Take these off right here to remove this. And then back here, you have two more screws for this side and on the other side. So once you remove that, you'll have this whole piece will be loose. Now mine, as you can see, it's all open. I got rid of that whole cover because it was just starting to flap down and scrape the street, so I just removed it. But if you still have that, as you can see, that's where all the screws go. So you'll have to use your Phillips screwdriver and take everything off. That way you can remove that whole piece, so you can remove your whole bumper. But yeah, that's to remove all that. So once you have all that removed, you have more access to mount your fog lights. So because my Infinity doesn't have a whole setup to mount the fog lights, I have to customize something. So if you're gonna do what I did, I basically got a bracket. Now that bracket, they use that for like for electrical, like to mount some boxes, like for switches and stuff. I just basically got one of those and cut it in half and mounted it to the frame of the car with the self tapper. I tried using a self tapper to mount the bracket, but it wasn't holding, so I ended up using zip ties. So that's what that looks like. So on your light, your black and your white is for your halos, and like I said, I have them directly tied into the parking lot lights, and I have to use the connectors. And on the LED part, you have a brown and a blue wire. So for those, you tie it in to your black and white coming in. That's already pre-wired. So I had to, like I said, I had to use shrink tape because the connections weren't really holding and making connection. So your brown is going to go with your white, and your black will go with your blue. So that's the whole setup for that. That's your blue is basically your ground, and yeah, the white will tie into your brown. You'll see that when if you get the lights, but that's pretty much the whole setup. So yeah, that's what I did. So let me show you the inside part, that way you can see how I wired everything. Alright, so like I said, you have your black, your white, and your red. and those are coming from the firewall, which I had mentioned. I have everything hidden, but I'll pull it out, that way you can see. They give you enough slack, that way you can you know, put it wherever you want. But right here you can see is the harness. So what I did is this wire goes to your switch, and we have it hidden back here. There's a little piece, a little opening that you can feed the wire through. So we fed that through, and it popped up on the other side of the other side of the console, and that's how I was able to mount my switch. Alright, so you can see back there's an opening, and I was able to get the wire through, and it comes right here, and that's where I mounted my switch. So as you can see, the red light is on, meaning that I have power to the switch, but the lights are not on. Now they're on. Like I said, it's going to be directly tied into the battery, so that light's going to always be on, even when you turn the car off. So you'll have to make sure you have that light off. You'll have the lights off when you leave the vehicle, because if not, then the lights will stay on. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole setup. It was pretty easy to do once I started figuring everything out. The hard part was just mounting the harness, and getting the wire ran and all that. But once I got that, once I finished that, I was able to finish the rest. But yeah, so for $17, I'll be honest, that product, it's not really worth it. So my halos, they're not really working. Only some of them are working. I could have got like a default, but I don't know. But yeah, only half of the halos working, so kind of sucks. The LED part, that works, but the halos, they don't really work, so that kind of sucks. I don't know, like I said, if it's just a faulty product, or because I only spent 18 bucks on it, you get what you get. But that's that. Then the whole wiring kit, that was like 20 bucks, and that was easy. But I did have to make some customizing brackets and all that, so that kind of took some time. But all in all, the car looks good. The lights are pretty bright, and it makes the car look more sporty, so that's a plus right there. Because my G35 doesn't have fog lights, so now it kind of does. And as far as if I would see about you getting it, I would recommend getting them. I don't know if it would be that fog light or some other fog lights, but if your G doesn't have fog lights and you're thinking about getting fog lights, I would recommend it, because like I said, it makes the car look more sporty. But yeah, pretty much that's the whole setup that I have. If you have any questions or anything about like the wiring, or how I ran everything, just leave a comment down below, and I'll try to answer whatever questions you got. But yeah, it's your boy G Money, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.